Hey, thanks so much for hitting play on Leanne On Demand today. I'm so excited to talk about today's topic, which is Moo Deng. And if you haven't heard of Moo Deng, you probably have heard of Moo Deng or seen Moo Deng, but you didn't realise that was her name. I'm talking about a baby pygmy hippopotamus. She went viral around September, October of last year, but she actually lives in a zoo, an hour away from Bangkok, about 30 minutes from where we're staying in Sriracha. That is why we are here in Sriracha. We have travelled all this way. We didn't even want to go to Sriracha, but we are here because we wanted to see Moo Deng. Well, not we, maybe me. I wanted to see Moo Deng. And I will link to some of her cute videos, but she's just gorgeous. I think she's about 9 months old now, pygmy hippo. And she went viral, like I said, just to millions and millions of people. She was all over Instagram Reels, Facebook Reels. People were talking about her, tagging her. And she's just the cutest little thing. She has grown up. I can vouch for that. She's not like the tiny little cute hippo that you saw in those videos, but she is still a stunning toddler. So gorgeous. And we saw her at the morning bounce. I think I mentioned that in a previous podcast episode when I was talking about visiting Moo Deng. The morning bounce, which is when her enclosure gets cleaned out, and so she moves around a bit. And I saw her bounce around today. So I'm on a bit of a Moo Deng high. What is fascinating though, like I said, I'm just a regular person visiting Thailand. You go to all the places, you go to Bangkok, you go to Krabi, you go to Phuket, Koh Samui, Chiang Mai. No one goes to Sriracha, but this whole region in Chonburi, within sort of an hour radius of the zoo, has experienced just so many more dollars hit its economy because of little Moo Deng. So I'm going to give you a snapshot of the economic impact of Moo Deng. So for ticket sales, the zoo has seen an increase in ticket sales around 12.97 million baht in just 19 days. Equivalent is in 19 days, they made an increase of $363,000. In terms of merchandise, they've launched Moo Deng themed merchandise like t-shirts. I bought a ton of stuff today. I bought some miniature Moo Dengs, some stuffed toys. I bought some key rings. I bought a bag. And also tourism revenue, right? So Chonburi, like I said, the region that this zoo is in, has reported an additional 27 billion baht in tourism revenue between July and October of last year. That's approximately $756 million. And they say most of this is attributed to Moo Deng drawing visitors to the area to see her. So local businesses, hotels, restaurants, the rooftop bars that I'm visiting, the restaurants that I'm visiting, the Grab drivers, I'm taking more Grab trips. So it's not just the zoo that's benefiting, it's the entire region is seeing a massive ripple effect. So I think it just shows the power of social media. And I was a conference catalyst at the ATEM conference last year, the Association of Tertiary Education Management. And the opening keynote speaker was Professor Debbie Heskey-Leventhal. And something that she said during her speech really just resonated with me and many people there. She had someone in the front row actually say out loud, "How can I make a difference? I'm just one person." And then the person next to her said the same thing. So there's two people now at the same time both saying, "How can I make a difference? I'm just one person." Then a third person, they all said the same thing at the same time. "How can I make a difference? I'm just one person." So Debbie repeated this with like the first front row, and then you had a collective. And I think what's fascinating about this is, I've just said there, this community has experienced impact within 3 months of $756 million off the back of one baby hippopotamus going viral. So I was curious, who is the person behind this? His name is Atapon Bendnandi. He's 31 years old. His occupation is zookeeper. So he's not a social media strategist at all. He's a zookeeper. And he is the guy that made Moo Deng a global sensation. How it came about was that he had been working at the zoo for 6 months and he was applying for a full-time job. And they asked him what would he do to help the zoo's future. And he said, "I am going to make Moo Deng famous." He said that in the job interview. Moo Deng hadn't even been born yet. So mother Moo Deng, I don't know what her name is, she was preggers. And this zookeeper had the foresight and just to say, "I'm going to make this baby hippo famous." What's interesting about these viral clips is it really captures, and I think I mentioned this, like the morning bounce. It isn't just morning clear the shelter time or morning feeding time. It's the morning bounce. And I think there's something really impactful about language that is attractive. Moo Deng, the name as well. Moo Deng is not Moo Deng's official name. I don't have it in front of me what her name officially is, but Moo Deng actually stands for bouncy pork. So, like all that, like that language around this gorgeous creature just adds to the virality of it. I mean, so kudos to this guy. And I think anyone, all of us in any occupation that we're in, you imagine generating an extra $700 million US for your organization, your community, just off the back of being a bit clever around posting, being intentional, and having the foresight to do something like this. Such a cool story. So I guess this is really around leveraging attention, building a community, and the surprising ways in 2025, all of us holding mobile phones can really make significant change. So that's my dedication to Moo Deng. If you're on Instagram, I'm going to be posting some photos and videos from the day. It was glorious. The other thing, this is just a side story just to end this, but because in my book, The 2 Hour Workshop Blueprint, I was kind of embarrassed to write this, but one of my top values, I wish it was something else. One of my top values is punctuality. It's such a lame value to have, but I really am driven by punctuality. I've never missed a flight. I can get really irritated when people aren't punctual around me. I have this weird thing with time. And so I've been reading all these blogs that people that had visited Moo Deng in the zoo last year when she was a baby, so around October, blogs around October, November, and they're all saying you have to get there early, the zoo opens early, you have to run in, otherwise there's going to be massive queues. This was all in my mind. So I made our Grab driver pick us up at 6:45. We get to the zoo, it's at 7:15, no one is there, you can't get in, so we're just sitting around this, there's nothing to do, just this concrete car park, waiting for it to open. And I was like, oh yeah, we'll probably just spend some time just responding to emails, but it ended up being the most exciting wait time because, unbeknownst to us, there was a sort of a flicker above the car park, and I look up and there's this monkey there, and there's this monkey sitting by the air conditioning, and it's just sort of preening itself. And then a second one pops up, but it walks down to this fence and just looks at us, and I take these really beautiful photos of it. It looks like it's almost posing for the photos. Then about 30 seconds later, it stares at me and I stare back, and then it gets into this really sort of fighter pose and starts legging it towards me. So I'm screaming, running away. Chris is there trying to defend me. I think we both have our rabies shots, but it was totally unexpected. And then Chris is like, don't, because I'm running from it, but I'm also staring at it as I'm running away just to keep it in my vision so I know where it is and so I can run fast. And Chris is like, don't look a monkey in the eye. Never look a monkey in the eye. And so I looked away, kept sort of running at a pace, and then, it had stopped. That was freaky. And then we look up, and then there's all these monkeys around. And what was interesting, about 10 to 8 is when staff were arriving and checking in for their roles. This guy walks past me, a local. On the back of his shirt, it has immigration. He has his air rifle with him. And as soon as he starts walking towards the gate, all the monkeys that are there just start sprinting towards their enclosure. So it was a signal. And so then he has his air rifle. So he shoots 1 or 2 shots, obviously just for the sound. And that signals to the monkeys to get back into their cage. But because no one was around, they were totally unsupervised. This could have been a really different podcast episode. But I wanted to end on that funny note. But just kick off with how empowering it is to know that we can, each of us, all of you, I'm talking to you right now, you have the power to dramatically impact your community, your industry, yourself, the people around you, off the back of figuring out how to win attention. So it's a good call out. I'm really grateful that I'm able to share this here and I haven't been taken by the monkeys. I'll speak to you tomorrow.